Alright guys, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
You excited for another class? Alright, how was your last class? Was it good?
Good.
I thought it was pretty great. So, how many of you guys have ever heard of disc golf, or some people call it frisbee golf? Or even frolf, my favorite name for it.
Yes.
Alright, so what do you guys know about it?
You throw a disc into a basket.
Basket. Wow, very good. So is it different than golf, or similar than regular golf, or ball golf?
It's
Kind of similar, kind of different?
same idea.
Alright, well let's see if we can watch a little video about frisbee golf. Let's see how that works. Alright.
Disc golf is golf for the next generation. We've got 18 holes on courses, just like ball golf, and the rules and everything, the etiquette, the camaraderie, the technique, it's all the same. Disc golf is biomechanically just like any other sport. The muscles have to fire at the same point, and you have to use them together. Instead of hitting the ball off the tee pad, we use our legs and we're the lever, and we throw the disc. What we have is a suspended catching device. It's metal, it sits about waist high, and it has to catch the disc out of midair. We have par 3, par 4, par 5, just like in ball golf. The only difference is you gotta think of disc golf in feet. Our par 3s are under 200 feet, not 200 yards.
The reason we play the game is just watching the flight. For me, it's like getting on a fast break and just going down and just slamming it. It's just such an adrenaline rush. Those bad shots and the anguish and missing putts are all just resolved once you hit that line. You just have that moment of zen.
When I first started, I played every single day. Skipped a little bit of school, just trying to fit it in whatever I could.
My dad took me out as our father-daughter time, and when I started out driving with friends, that's what got me hooked. It's cool to throw far, but you gotta putt well.
It's all about playing smart, playing conservative, knowing when to attack. Really, every single shot that I step up to, I kind of try to take into account all variables. I'm checking the wind, I'm checking the distance.
So you're getting a lot bigger, a lot more people coming out, a lot more athletes getting into the game.
I travel all over the world. I've been to 11 countries. I've been to every single United States playing disc golf. And the people you meet and the times you have are unbelievable. They invite us into their homes, they take care of us, they cook us food. It's an unbelievable subculture that's really taken over. I think that if the outside world could see how dedicated the people were in disc golf and how much it means to somebody when they get hooked, then they're gonna get hooked.
Oh, that's a video of me watching myself. Alright, so did that give you guys a better idea of what disc golf is a little bit? Alright, so today what I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to teach you not only a little bit about disc golf, but if you want to ever go out and play, a little bit of the basics that will help you be successful. So, in disc golf, like the guy said on the video, it is much like ball golf. Same principles in that you're shooting for a hole. Obviously the hole's not a hole in the ground, it's a basket that catches the disc, and once you've made it, that is the the end of the hole for you. And just like par in ball golf, do you guys know what par means in ball golf? What does that mean? If it's a par 3, what does that mean? If you hit it in 3 shots, that is the standard or par. So if you take 3 shots, then that is considered that you shot 0 on the hole. If you shot it in 2, then you shot -1. If you shot it in 4, then you shot it in 1 over. Okay, so the par is what you're aiming for, and if you're shooting under, you're doing really well. If you're shooting over, it might be a little less than you could have done. So we're going to start out with some of the throws. The basic throwing back in disc golf is the throw that you guys have normally thrown when you throw a frisbee or just throwing out with your friends. It's called the backhand. Okay, so if everyone can grab your frisbee with me now. So the backhand is much like tennis. You know there's a backhand in tennis. It's just when you swing your arm back and swing through, just like tennis, it's much the same motion. So first we're going to show the grip though. So the first grip I'm going to work is called a standard grip. It's one you're going to use for accuracy. You're going to have 3 fingers. Your first 3 fingers starting from your pinky. The pads are going to be right inside the disc, right there. And then your pointer fingers is going to be right along top. And this is going to help with accuracy, and when you practice throwing, you can actually end pointing right at your target. So that helps with accuracy, and it's going to be a little bit of an easier throw than the next one. The next one is called a power grip. So this one you're going to take all 4 fingers, all 4 pads right on the inside, and you're going to grip it really hard. And this is for maximum distance. You might lose a little bit of accuracy, but the torque that extra finger down there is going to get on the disc is going to be what keeps it in the air the longest. So, for the backhand, can everyone stand up to me real quick? We're going to practice as if you were just doing a standing throw, so with no run up. So, your front foot is going to be pointing towards where you're shooting. Let's use the power grip to start off. So everyone show me your power grip. Good, good, good. Thumb's just going to be resting right on top, right there. So with your with a regular frisbee, you can, like an ultimate frisbee or something like that, you can throw down from your hip and the frisbee will correct itself with the spin, which is called a hyzer. But with a golf disc, it's slightly different. It's not going to do that. You want to release it as perfectly level as you can because it is going to spin off to the side really fast if you don't. So we're going to practice bringing all the way up to your shoulder and pulling straight across, nice and strong. So you're going to turn your hips almost all the way away from where you're going. And then you're going to follow through really strong. Good. Now let's try the same one real quick with the finger on top, the standard grip. It's going to be almost identical. So pull all the way back to your shoulder and pull straight through your other shoulder. Good. That's really good, guys. Okay, now let's move to another throw. Oh, one more thing on this throw. With frisbees, they're always going to spin off to one side at the end. So if you are a right-handed player, how many of you guys are right-handed? Good. So if you're a right-handed player, when you throw it, you're going to be putting a clockwise spin on it. Does that make sense? See how it's going to be spinning clockwise when you throw it with the backhand? Clockwise spin always means it's going to die off to the left. So every time you throw this, no matter how hard you throw it or no matter how well you throw it, it's always going to spin off to the left. And if you are throwing with a counterclockwise spin, like you will with some other throws, so if you're a left-handed player throwing it this way, see it would be a counterclockwise spin, then it's going to die off to the right. All right, so that's very important. All right, let's move on to the forehand. So forehand, there are variations. I'm going to teach you guys the 2 finger to start off. So let me see, just 2 fingers, put them right up in the air. Okay. Now, this your middle finger is going to go right on the inside, just like that. Your middle finger, Esther, on the other side. Try putting it on the other side of the disc.
Okay.
There you go. Thanks, Rachel.
Got it.
It's kind of tricky. So this is going to be where it spins up, where the disc spins off of. So what we're going to do is, with a forehand, or what's called a flick, you're bringing your disc back here, just like that, and then you're going to power through with a strong flicking motion. And actually, in other throws where there's a big follow through, there's no follow through in this throw. So you don't follow through with your hand out there. It's all about the pullback. So it's a strong flick, and you pull your hand back really strong. So with keeping our disc firmly in hand, let's practice that a few times. You can practice like 50%. Strong flick, there you go. And it's all about the pullback. This throw takes a lot of practice, so if you were just to go out and start throwing it this way, it would probably look pretty ugly at first. But if you practice a lot, it's going to give you a different spin. What spin do you think this is going to have if you're a right-handed player? Which way is it going to be spinning when you release it? Counterclockwise. So which way is the flight going to end? To the right. And which way is your backhand flight going to end?
To the left.
To the left. So it's a really, really good tool to have your forehand as well as a backhand, because it gives you a whole nother set of tools. Because if you're trying to shoot around some trees where the hole's back behind to the right of the trees, you're going to want a forehand as well as a backhand, because the backhand just isn't going to get there as well. Does that make sense? All right, awesome. There's also, some people prefer putting just one finger inside, so you can try that one as well. Just one finger, yep, just like that. And then there's also a thumber. We won't go over that. It's some people like to use it. It's pretty uncommon. And then there's also an overhand flick, which isn't used very often as well. Maybe some other time we'll go over that one. Hammer throw. This one has a limited use, but in some situations you just don't have any way to get over it. You can get around, but a hammer. So everyone, show me the same grip that you just used for your side or forehand. Sorry. Good, just like that. So instead of down here, it's much the same motion, but it's going to be overhead. So the disc is going to be right on top of your head. It's almost like throwing a baseball. You get a nice strong follow through. And this one, the flick isn't as important. You can have a bigger follow through. And the disc is going to do a really weird flight. Instead of just flying like a normal frisbee, it's going to flip up and over, up here, and then back around. Okay, so it's going to have this weird like spiral motion. So it's a little unpredictable, and you never know where it's going to go, where it lands. It might roll, it might stop dead. So it's not always the best throw, but if you're ever in a situation where you can't get around, say a bunch of bushes or some trees, but you can go over the top, then it's probably your only option. So, and then we have putting. So for putting, 3 minutes. For putting, we have several types of putts. There's a push putt, a toss putt, a flick putt. Those are all slight variations, but those are all different styles. But for the grip, it's the same as your standard grip. So remember your standard grip for your backhand. One finger up, good. And then some people for putting like to be extra safe, and they feel more comfortable if they fan their fingers out. So try that fan out, just like that. Good. And so it's all about just a nice smooth putt. Now, out of all the discs that we're holding right now, who do you think has a putter? Any guesses? Look around. Anyone think they have a putter? There it is. That's a putter. Now, you guys see the difference? See how rounded it is and how short? Now look at Rachel's disc. See how sharp the edges are? And how much flatter her disc is? Now that's made for much longer distance. So Rachel, Amy, and I all have drivers that would be used for about 300 to 400 feet of flight. And Esther has more of a mid-range. It's still a driver, but it would be considered more of a mid-range. So if you're talking about 150 to 250 feet, that's what you'd want to use. And then you have Elizabeth has the putter, which is anywhere from 100 and all the way down to just a toss-in putt. So depending on what you want to do, you got to choose the right disc. So we're running a little bit out of time, but just to figure out a little bit more about the game, you guys might need to take these home, but I have a little bit of a worksheet for you guys. Okay, and all this is an actual disc golf course. And anytime you see the rectangle, that means it's the tee, or where you're shooting from. And the circle is where the hole is at. Does that make sense? And I gave specific holes in the questions that ask you about which hole you're shooting on, and then what shot you would use and what disc you would use. So if you guys want to fill that out when you're maybe later on, it'll give you a better idea of how you'd actually play. And then at the very bottom, under each hole, you have the par, and then you also have the distance and how far it is. So yeah, I hope you guys fill this out, and then maybe sometime get to go out back and play on our course we have right here on campus. Thanks, guys.